first steps towards convict leasing in Texas happened right at the end of the Civil War and right at the moment of emancipation. There was really no gap in time. Slavery, for some people, moved or passed right into convict leasing, and that's a Texas story specifically. The thing that made convict leasing legally possible was the provision in the Emancipation Proclamation that slavery or forced labor, more specifically, was only possible if a person had been convicted of a crime. Convict leasing took advantage of that provision by convicting people for very minor actions, or sometimes no actions at all. Then these people would become prisoners. As such, then they could legally be forced to do labor. It wasn't literally, legally re-enslavement, but it was taking advantage of this provision that was built into the emancipation process itself and the document that brought about legal emancipation, that crime could justify coerced labor.
When the convict lease system started here in Texas, in 1867, man, it was an atrocity, how they treated those individuals. And so I just wanted to kind of, tell that story.
Mr. Moore got in touch with Dr. Wildenthal here at Rice to see if there would be some kind of way that Rice could play a role in raising awareness of this topic. And so from there, Dr. Wildenthal is involved with Rice's Houston Area Research Teams program. The acronym is HEART. And so she organized a group of students this past summer, 2015, to work with Mr. Moore on his research materials, and they created an online exhibit that's available. And then following on that exhibit that the students created with Mr. Moore, the archives came here to the Woodson Research Center. And so since the summer, I've been working with Mr. Moore to organize his papers and describe them so that researchers can find them. And that has culminated in the exhibit that we have up right now.
I'm hoping that the community in the city, the university, will be aware, and certain scholars, the kids would maybe pick up on this and be able to do some studies like the HEART team did. I'm hoping that this education would be compelling to everybody.
The Rice History Department has a strength in Southern history, in the history of slavery, in the history of post-emancipation labor. That's just an emphasis of our department in general. This collection is special partly because of the historical material that it contains, but I would say even more importantly because it records the recent activism of a Houstonian who has connected this history to things happening right now in this city. And that even goes beyond the historical research of my colleagues in that department. These things are, of course, all connected, but to me, what was unique about this collection was that Reginald Moore had been working on these issues, speaking to public authorities, collecting materials such as archaeological studies, right now, in the last 10 to 15 years. That's something that historians of the 19th century had not collected, did not know about, didn't have access to. That's the special value of this collection.
As a humanitarian, as a community activist, I have a soft heart for the people for not knowing. So I'm hoping that this education will be compelling to everybody.